Hello and welcome back to Down to the Tyre. Now today's episode, I can't promise that it won't be more of a rant than a podcast episode because it has just been revealed that Formula E will be behind a paywall here in the UK in 2024 and I'm not happy about it. So I want to talk about why I'm not happy about it and why so many other people aren't happy about it as well. So I can't promise that I'm not going to get a little bit angry throughout this episode, but I hope people who are feeling the same way relate and enjoy knowing that someone else feels the same way as them, because honestly it's just such a terrible idea and I'm probably not going to be watching Formula E in 2024 because of this. So yeah, let's get straight into it, let's waste no time. The first thing I want to talk about is the pricing. Now TNT Sport costs £30 a month here in the UK. So if you don't already have TNT Sport and you are wanting to buy TNT Sport to watch Formula E, that is £30 per month coming out of your pocket purely for Formula E. Now I know there's other sports on there, but if you're not interested in watching those and you purely just want to watch Formula E, then that's a lot of money to afford to get Formula E. I've seen quotes from the team behind Formula E who have made these decisions, and they really seem to focus on people who already had TNT Sport, not the actual original fans who already watch it. And they were saying that they hope that people who already have TNT Sport watch it, and then it was kind of an afterthought of, and the original fans can get it. So they're clearly prioritising growing the sport and getting new fans. But obviously this is going to be a priority for any sport, but you've got to do this in a way that doesn't alienate the people who already watch your sport, the people who are already dedicated fans, because it sounds like they're really prioritising trying to get sports fans who already buy TNT Sport to watch it, rather than prioritising the actual fans who already exist for Formula E who want to watch it. Prior to 2024, for those who are unfamiliar with where Formula E was streamed in 2023, and before that, it was streamed on Channel 4, which here in the UK is a completely free service. It was also live streamed on YouTube. The practice sessions, the qualifying sessions, and the races were all completely free, which was obviously so brilliant because it was so accessible to fans. And I think that's what drew a lot of people into Formula E in the first place, because obviously Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, etc. are all behind a paywall, but this actually made Formula E so easy and free to watch that new fans were keen to get involved and were keen to watch it. And I think this really did just make the sport grow, whereas I don't think the fan base, even though having it free on YouTube and Channel 4 helped to grow the fan base, I don't think the fan base is big enough for people to think, yeah, I'm happy to pay £30 for that. Or I don't think the fan base is dedicated enough for people to think, yeah, I want to pay £30 for that, because it's just, that's obviously a lot, and a lot of people are already paying £30 for Sky Sports here. Obviously that's a lot of money. If you get both, you're paying £60 a month, which is just incredible. The quote I was on about from Formula E themselves was from Jeff Dodds, the CEO. He said, "This is incredible news for sports fans in the UK who already watch premium live sports on TNT Sport," which basically sums it up. It's great news for people who already have TNT Sport, but what about the people who don't? It's awful news for them. And the fact that he started the quote by talking about people who already watch live sport on TNT Sport, that just shows that he is prioritising sports fans who already watch other sports on TNT Sport, not sports fans who already are into Formula E. So he's relying on the people who already have TNT Sport deciding they want to watch Formula E, which if they have TNT Sport to watch rugby, for example, because I know rugby is on TNT Sport, there's nothing saying that they are definitely going to be also into Formula E. There's nothing that is remotely similar about those two sports except for the fact that they are both sports. So it's a big leap of faith, thinking that those sports fans are also going to be like, yeah, I'll watch Formula E, I'll give that a chance, because they might not. He went on to say in his quote, "From next month, they will get to enjoy the new thrill of Formula E racing, the most competitive motorsport on TV." So yeah, the new thrill. These aren't people who already watch Formula E. These are people who've never seen it before. And so far in his quote, which has been 2 sentences, he's not even mentioned the fan base they already have. All he's mentioned is new people who are getting into the sport who just happen to already have TNT Sport, happen to stumble across Formula E and think, yeah, I'm going to give it a go. Which I don't think is going to be that many people, because there's not that much motorsport already on TNT Sport. There's MotoGP, but obviously there are going to be overlaps in fans between MotoGP fans and Formula E fans. But just because you enjoy motorbike racing doesn't mean you are interested in car racing. There's a lot of people who are just interested in car racing and a lot of people who are just interested in motorbike racing. I think the other motorsport series that Formula E has the most overlap with in terms of fan base, and also similarity in terms of the cars and the racing, is surely Formula 1. I mean, the racing is very different, but I think it's probably the most similar that is out there. And definitely the most similar in terms of fans watching Formula 1 and thinking, oh, I'm going to get into Formula E. I've seen a lot of people, online who have started off watching Formula 1 and then Formula E is kind of what they've branched into. I think this is probably because of the similarity in drivers. There's a lot of drivers in Formula E who've done Formula 1 in the past. Pascal Wehrlein, Sebastian Buemi, Nick de Vries recently, to name a few. But I think that is kind of what's drawn people over from Formula 1 to Formula E. That similarity in the drivers and the fact that there is drivers in Formula E who they will have heard of from Formula 1. So I think if Formula E was on Sky Sports, on the F1 channel even, and it was visible so that when people were scrolling through what to watch on Sky Sports and they saw Formula E and they were an F1 fan, they'd probably think, I'll give it a go, I'll tune in. So I think that would work with new fans. But on TNT Sport, I'm not sure there's enough other similar sports on there to draw people in to watch Formula E. I don't think there's that many people who have TNT Sport for motorsport. Whereas I think there's a lot of people who have Sky Sports for motorsport, to watch the F1, to watch the F2, the IndyCar, etc. There are motorsport series on TNT Sport. As I said, MotoGP is one of them. But I'm not sure if it's as much of a pull as having it on the same channel or the same service as Formula 1. And it's only then in the quote that he goes on to speak about existing Formula E fans, almost as if there's some sort of afterthought saying, for existing Formula E fans, we're excited to present TNT Sports as the new home of Formula E in the UK. You've got absolutely nothing to say about the existing fans, except for, TNT Sport is the new home. It's like an absolute afterthought. They're not thinking about making it good or easy or free or even cheap for the existing fans. They're just an absolute afterthought. They're prioritising new fans coming in from TNT Sport, people who already have TNT Sport. It sounds like they are completely aware that people aren't going to buy TNT Sport for Formula E because they're completely thinking about the fans of sport in general who already have TNT Sport. They're not trying to encourage people to buy TNT Sport. That's not even their priority. Their priority is there's a lot of sports fans who already have TNT Sport, who already watch live sport on there, who can tune into Formula E now, if they want to, which that's not even guaranteed. And then an afterthought of just, for existing fans, TNT Sport is the new home. So if you want it, you're going to have to buy it. It's just completely alienating for fans who are already dedicated to Formula E and already watch it. It's disappointing. If you couldn't tell that I'm disappointed by this point in the episode, I am. Because I just think when you're expanding a fan base of a sport, Formula 1, they've been expanding the fan base in the past few years with social media, but I feel like they've done it in a way where original fans of the sport can still watch it in the same way that they always have done, can still enjoy it in the same way they have done. It's just if they want to engage in social media content as well, they can. But then the social media content has drawn in so many new fans, and Drive to Survive, of course, as well. But with Formula E, their way of growth is just to alienate the fans they already have. They don't matter. Put it on this premium live sports streaming service, which costs £30 a month. And if they don't get on board, it doesn't seem like they care. If the, existing fans get on board, it doesn't seem like they even care. They just care about the people who already have the service being able to watch it. They're not even trying to really convince the existing fans to get TNT Sport. What they're trying to do is convince people who already have TNT Sport to give Formula E a go, which is just insane to me. It should definitely be always the existing fans that are prioritised, and that will help to grow the fan base. Like with Formula 1, they were doing social media content, and that was partly to draw new fans in, to increase the reach, but it was also just to give existing fans something to watch, something to follow, you know? There was a benefit for both parties, whereas with this, there's only a benefit for new fans. And that's only a benefit if they already have TNT Sport. There's no benefit for the existing fans whatsoever here. I also wanted to talk about the presenters. So I've decided to do this as a separate segment because it's kind of a whole different topic that I want to speak about. Obviously, previously, Vernon Kay presented it. He left to go and do his work on BBC Radio 2, but he did not know anything about Formula E really going into the role. He wasn't someone from a motorsport background. He was from a TV background. He was from a presenting background. And for a lot of the time he was on it, I was very unsure about him. I really wasn't really sold. And then when he left, I kind of got it. It's almost like you don't realise what you've had until it's gone. And I kind of got it. I liked his enthusiasm. I liked, his passion for it. He clearly, even though he didn't know the ins and outs of it, he clearly wanted to learn, understood the basics at least, and clearly cared about the series. And, his passion really did shine through, even if he wasn't an expert. And then they obviously had these other experts there who did have a sports background, who were there to provide that, who had a specifically motorsport background, I should say, as well, whether that's Formula E or Formula 1. Now, they're definitely going for the same approach this year. The quote that I was speaking about from Jeff Dodds, the Formula E CEO, goes on to say, with experienced professional sports person and broadcaster Jermaine Genus leading our stellar lineup of expert presenters to provide his original perspective for viewers, we cannot wait to get to work in Mexico City. While I know it sounds hypocritical to say that I'm not sure about Jermaine Genus after saying that I wasn't sure about Vernon and he actually grew on me, I don't know, I never thought I'd miss Vernon, but I actually ended up missing Vernon, which is quite funny. But with Jermaine, obviously, he is an incredibly experienced sports pundit and presenter. So he's from the sports world, but he is not from the motorsport world whatsoever. And while someone like Vernon, coming from outside of this motorsport world and presenting it, I think did ultimately work in the end. If you'd asked me while he was presenting it, I would have said no. But actually looking back, I feel like I kind of have grown to appreciate what he did for Formula E and how he did it. But I'm just not sold on Jermaine Genus yet. I think it's just kind of a lazy hire because he already is signed with TNT Sport to do all the football coverage and a lot of other coverage they do. So it kind of feels like they've just gone, okay, you do all this other stuff for us, so you can do this as well. When in reality, I feel like they probably could have actually looked around and found someone specific for Formula E to do it. But, I mean, I don't want to speak about what I think he's going to be like because obviously, as I said, Vernon, I changed my opinion on, so I don't want to, predict how Jermaine is going to be and then change my opinion. But I do just think it's a bit of a cop-out of just, oh, well, you already do TNT Sport, so you can do it. I don't know. I think I get having a presenter who maybe doesn't know the most about Formula E to just kind of be the hype man, to just be the one who's at the front, getting the excitement up, creating the buzz about it, just by being enthusiastic and being there, even if you're not giving the most technical analysis. Like, that's not probably going to be his job. He's got a huge team of experts behind him who are that's going to be their job, and I imagine they're going to carry the coverage. But if they want a bit of a hype man, obviously that was kind of Vernon's job. I guess Jermaine will do the same job, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on him as the lead presenter yet. Jermaine does seem passionate about the sport. He said, since retiring from football, I never thought I would find a sport that I loved as much, but Formula E is a sport like nothing else. Now, I don't know is that just a PR statement? Is that genuine? I don't know. I mean, if I was taking a job in a sport I had no idea about, I'd probably say I loved it just because I wouldn't want people to think I was presenting a sport that I didn't like. So I can't tell whether he's just saying that. But anyway, he goes on to say, I couldn't be more excited to take on this incredible presenting role and travel the world with such amazing teams. To get in front of the camera and share the energy and action with the viewers is a whole new challenge and adrenaline rush for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. He will be joined by Nikki Shields, who already did Formula E. They are keeping a lot of the current people who did it in 2023 the same: commentator Tom Brooks, ex-Formula E driver Karun Chandok, and four-time IndyCar champion Dario Franchitti. They will then keep Radzi as the pit lane reporter. He was already in that role in 2023. And then Saunders Carmichael Brown will return next season alongside former Formula E team boss Alan McNish. They have also added quite a few experts to the lineup for 2024, and one of which is Andre Lotterer, who I'm really, really excited to see in this role, to be honest. I think, obviously, he did Formula E for so many years. He's not going to be doing it in 2024 anymore, but I think he will have a lot to bring to the table, and I really do just think he is going to bring a lot of knowledge to the coverage. So I'm really happy to see him on board. And they also have former rally driver Katie Munnings, former British F3 driver Billy Monga, and also former F1 driver David Coulthard and former W Series champion Jamie Chadwick will be making guest appearances throughout the season. So I do think, even though I'm not fully sold on Jermaine Genius yet, I do feel like the experts that they have are really strong presenting it. But still, having strong presenters doesn't matter if no one's able to watch it, because it's behind a very expensive paywall. Obviously, as well, in the UK, we're in a bit of a cost of living crisis at the moment, and I don't think many people are going to be able to, even if they want to, I don't think people are going to be able to afford to buy that, even if the presenter lineup are decent. So overall, my review of the presenter lineup is that I'm not sold on Jermaine. I think the experts who are doing it are good and who are going to be great. I think they're going to actually really bring a lot of value to the coverage, to the point where it might not matter that Jermaine doesn't know quite as much. I'll have to see it in action. I mean, I'm probably not going to pay for TNT Sports, so I probably won't see it in action, but I'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. But I do think it could possibly work. However, what's a good presenter team if no one is watching? It's pointless. Like, having a great presenter team only matters if people are able to tune in. So yeah, that's my overall thoughts on the presenter team for Formula E for 2024. So that brings us to the end of this episode. My overall thoughts: the presenter team could work, it could not. Time will tell. I think the pricing is insane. I don't think many people who don't already have TNT Sport will purchase it just for Formula E. I don't think people will be willing to do that. So I don't think having a good presenter team is that strong if no one's actually going to be paying attention to it. I think overall, I don't know, I just think the move to TNT Sport is very, very questionable. I think it prioritises the new fans who may come in. It's not even guaranteed, but the fans that might come in to watch the sport, it prioritises them over the fans who already exist, who are already here, who are already wanting to watch. But also, this announcement has created a lot of publicity for them. So if that's what they wanted, then they have succeeded. But anyway, let me know if you will still be planning to watch Formula E, if you're going to buy TNT Sport to watch it, if you already have TNT Sport and you're going to watch it. And yeah, this is the end of this episode. I hope it hasn't been too ranty, and I hope I've explained the reasons why I think it might not be such a good idea for Formula E. But I hope you've enjoyed it either way. Let me know what you think in the poll below, and stay tuned for another episode coming very soon. I've been Gemma from Down to the Tyre. Goodbye for now.